Welcome, everybody. I'm Marc David, founder of the Institute for the Psychology of Eating, and here we are in the Psychology of Eating podcast. I'm with Aggie today. Welcome, Aggie.
Thank you. Hi, Marc.
I'm so glad we're doing this, and I just want to ask you one of my favorite questions, which is if you could wave your magic wand and get whatever you wanted when it comes to food and body, what would that be for you?
Yeah. It would be the following. I would like to basically apply all the things that I learned about my eating challenges, about how I should go about that, and be able to have like a balanced and normal relationship with food.
Mm-hmm. So what is it about your relationship with food right now that doesn't feel balanced and normal?
It's really to the extremes. So basically, it's either I'm able to do very strict diet, follow everything to its last point, or actually it's the other way around, and I'm losing everything. I'm going into binge eating phases, and then of course I get into the circle of feeling ashamed, feeling that I again potentially gain weight, and then I would need to start a circle again. So I don't find somewhere the in between. I'm trying, I'm getting there more and more, but I'm still not 100% there. And I know in a lot of ways how it should be.
Yeah. So when you're trying to eat the way that you think you should be eating, what does that look like? If you were eating the way Aggie says, this is the right way for me to do it.
So I have some issues with my insulin level, with my thyroid. So I should definitely watch out for sugar consumption, and basically follow also some gluten-free, dairy-free free diet to help me to get a bit better, and limit actually all the sweets and everything that I normally really like to eat.
Mm-hmm. So would you not have any of those foods in your ideal diet? Like no gluten, no dairy, no sugar?
In an ideal diet, no, because if I start, then usually there is no stop. Mm-hmm. So I'd rather choose the way of I exclude completely. I eliminate those completely, and then I don't have the risk that I will just go on binging.
So when you start eating those foods, how does it affect your body? What do you notice?
That I don't feel that well. So that I feel sometimes bloated, I feel full. I also, after a few days, I become a bit puffy in my face. So I also feel that my body does not react well, actually, to those kind of foods in the amount, in an extreme amount. Mm-hmm. So it's also from a health perspective feel different.
Yeah. How old are you, Aggie?
35.
35. And when did you first determine that you need to eat a certain way to feel healthy?
I was actually 14 years old, and that was less about healthy rather than the weight, because I was a bit chubby as a child, and I started to get some comments from my schoolmates that I'm big. I was a bit like separated in the gym classes, not to get some nasty comments from the others, and that was the first time when I started to first pay attention to what I eat and looked at the amounts. And after actually like 1 year, then it turned into some of the anorexic, I would say, symptoms and weight loss. And that is when my whole issue or journey with food started.
So you're about 14, you had some extra weight, kids weren't being nice to you. How did you first go on a diet? Did somebody help you, or you just did it by yourself?
I started to read, and first like some magazines on some diets. I started to more do like sports to watch out for my weight. Basically, I just did it by myself. I eliminated certain type of food, and then later on, I just completely limit actually the amount of food that I was eating. So it was completely like intuitional in that sense. There was no official help, no dietitian, no one who was helping me.
Mm-hmm. And are you happy with your weight these days?
It's an interesting question. I'm still kind of like fighting even with myself in the sense that I still have a certain weight in my head where I would like to go back, which I know is just a number. And I try to actually move away from that. I still would like to lose a few kilos just for the sake of fitting into my clothes that I used to, so that I don't need to buy actually new dresses and everything. But I'm also asking sometimes myself the question, if I stay in this weight for the rest of my life, would I be okay or happy with it? And it's also sometimes tends more to the yes, but then the other side is not, no, I would need to get back to my old weight, let's put it like that.
Yes. So when was the last time you weighed your ideal weight?
It was 3 years ago when I managed to get to that weight.
How did you do it?
Limiting really the sugar base, the gluten foods, exercising additional amount, and really eliminating all the foods that I would not need to. So it's again like a diet that I figured out for myself.
Mm-hmm. So where are you from again?
From Budapest, Hungary.
Mm-hmm. And are you in a relationship?
Yes.
How long?
For 2 years now.
And how does your partner feel about your weight?
He got to know me when I was exactly the weight that I have today. So he tells me that I'm really beautiful. He likes me the way how I am. And even if I gain a few weights or kilos, or if I lose a few kilos, he supports me. He loves me. He's just trying to suggest or maybe drive me to a way of not to do crazy, insane things, either or, right? From an eating standpoint and also from an exercise standpoint. But he gives a lot of positive feedback actually about me, about my weight, which helps me, which keeps me a bit more calmer about the weight and about the way how I look. But still from inside, I think it's more from where it's coming for me.
Yes. So do you have brothers and sisters?
No, I'm an only child.
You're the only child. And are you close with your parents?
My dad died when I was 19, so long time back. I started to get closer to my mom when I was about like 25 or so. Before that, we were not really that close. And I think it changed. When my dad died, that's when we started to get closer. And after a few years is when I really started to open up to her about a lot of things. Mm-hmm. Also about my weight challenges, about the way how I felt in high school and so on.
How has that been, having those conversations with her?
It was on one hand painful to see her struggle, because she did not really understand why I did not tell her at those times. She was also a bit like, am I blaming her in certain way that she did not help or that she was not fully there for me? But on the other hand, it was really like liberating as well to tell her and to finally open up to her about those things and to have those conversations.
How would you describe her relationship with her body and her diet?
She's always saying that, oh yeah, I'm not eating now because I would just need to lose some weight, or I would need to like maintain the weight. She used to be like a professional volleyball player when she was young. So sports was everything for her. So she had no issues with the diet. She was very thin. And when actually she had me, that's when she started to gain weight. And since then it's always somewhere in her mind.
Mm-hmm. Are you working these days?
Yes.
What's your job? What's your profession?
I'm graduated as a history teacher, but then I completely changed the course, and now I'm working in finance. I'm leading a small finance team. How
do you like it?
I really like it. I like working with people. I like working as well on helping, on developing them. And I also like the analytics part of my work. It's sometimes difficult, it's stressful, but overall I like it.
Mm-hmm. Where do you see yourself 3 years down the road? Do you see yourself getting married? Do you see yourself having kids at some point? What do you think about the future for you?
It's a good question. And kids, I'm not 100% sure. I still have not decided if I would like to have kids or not. And this is the same with my boyfriend. We discussed this a few times. So we are still undecided on how to go about it. Married, I was married already once. I got divorced. So for me, it's not a necessity to get married. It's more, I would like to be healthy and have my family and around me actually being healthy, have my relationship with my boyfriend this stable and balanced as we are and happy as we are today. And I would just like to really enjoy what I do on a daily basis. So I don't really have those exact plans of a house with a nice garden and dogs and 2 kids and everything planned. I used to do that years ago, but today is more on just making sure that I feel the way I feel. Happy.
Yes. Remind me again how old you are. 30?
35.
35. Okay. So let's just go back to diet for a moment. When you're eating the way you feel, gosh, if I could just eat this way all the way, all the time, I'd be in good shape. What would breakfast look like for you?
Breakfast would usually I take like a smoothie, so with some bananas, fruit, some protein powder, or potentially some vegetables with tuna. Some eggs, some either boiled eggs with some vegetables. It depends, but these are the things. Or maybe some kind of a bakery product from like a gluten-free flour and so on. Those are the things.
Mm-hmm. And would you have a snack between breakfast and lunch?
Yes, I'm really the type of person who even if eats healthy, I like eating more. So it's like at least five or 6 times a day. So it can either be an apple or something, or just a few slices of ham or cheese.
Mm-hmm.
Like
and what's a typical lunch look like for you?
Some again gluten-free pasta, salads, vegetables. There are some special products that I started to use, which are really like gluten-free flours, and from that pancakes or certain things I can cook from there, some noodles.
Mm-hmm. So you like preparing food for yourself?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I started that a few years ago, and it helps me as well to prep.
And what's typical for you for dinner?
For dinner, either something like what was there for like lunch, as well, like the remainder or the second part, or any of the comparison, or some grilled vegetables with some coconut yogurt, some of these things.
And do you have anything to eat after dinner?
Not really. Mm-hmm. Because usually, at least nowadays, since this COVID situation, I go for a run after I finish my work, and then I have dinner afterwards. So it gets up to like 8, 9-ish in the evening.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds like during the day, there's no times when you're really famished or starving or hungry. It sounds like you take care of your appetite so you don't hit that point. Is that true?
Yeah, it is.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, go.
So this is also an interesting thing that I realized is I usually, when I start eating something which in my view I should not, I'm not hungry. It's just like a craving or something that, oh my God, I would just want to eat a chocolate bar or something.
Mm-hmm. So do you tend to eat fast, moderate, slow?
Fast.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Have you ever tried to become a slow eater?
I tried even to basically just switch off everything around me, just sit down, even close my eyes, try to like eat really slowly, chew the bite slowly, and tried it for a few times. Mm-hmm. And then afterwards, I actually just went back to my old habit.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned to me that at least sometimes when you end up eating something that you don't want to eat, it's because you're not even hungry. You're just saying, oh, I really want that. So What would you really want? You'd want a piece of chocolate. What else might your brain decide? I want that.
Sometimes just some pastry, either some croissant or some chocolate muffin. Or even there are some, I would say some alternate kind of sweets, which are really gluten-free, sugar-free, everything, like some oat biscuits. But I get that in my mind that, oh my God, this is what I would really want to have. Mm-hmm. But usually it's on the pastry kind of thing.
Yeah. So when you were young, 14-ish, you start your first diet. How old were you when you started feeling, oh, I'm losing weight and I'm doing better. I'm liking my body more. This is working. How long did it take for that to happen?
It was like a year after when I started the diet, and I was doing the exercise, and afterwards I started to feel better. I looked better and I felt better, not just physically, but also in like the high school with people around me, with clothes fitting me and so on.
Yes. So did you notice people treating you different?
Yep.
How so?
Actually, I started to get the comments that, oh, you look nice because you lose weight. Sometimes they added, sometimes they did not, but basically that was the comment. Oh, you changed, you look nice. Also, people started to, or my schoolmates started to like approach me more, and that was partially because I lost weight, and partially because I was like a fairly good student, so they just wanted to steal my homework, and that was how the two things linked.
Got it. Okay. Do you have places in life where you feel you just like to control things, or you want to get things under control, other than food, other than weight? Where do you find yourself wanting more control?
I think in a lot of areas, even in work, that I like to make sure I know what's happening. I'm part of the things that is happening, and I just don't let the things actually go out of my control. And maybe just one more thing in terms of like I'm very much. I used to be pretty much the planning type, in the sense that, okay, if we travel somewhere, I need to book the accommodation on time, the flights and so on, like 3 or 6 months in advance, just to make sure that I know where I will be on that given day. So this is maybe another example.
Yeah. When do you feel good not being in control? Like, are there times when you're just not in control of whatever's happening and you feel really good? You're not worried about anything. You're relaxed, Aggie, not planning.
I think partially when I'm also with my boyfriend, this is something new as well that I started to feel with him, in the sense that when we are together, I don't start immediately thinking about the next steps in terms of where do we go, what do we do, and when. Mm. And the other case, when I don't sometimes want to plan, or I just completely like lose it, is when I have those binge episodes, in the sense that it's okay, let it just happen, whatever comes. And I don't want to think about what's coming after.
Mm-hmm. You know, Aggie, some things that are standing out for me from our conversation so far is that things turned around for you when you were young, when, in a sense, you took control over your diet. Because if you think about it, for a young person, a young man, a young woman, if you're at school and you're chubby or you have a few extra pounds and kids are making fun of you, that's kind of one of the worst possible things, because it's just an age that's very vulnerable. And when we're 12, 13, 14, most important thing is we want other people to accept us and like us and think that we're attractive. And you were getting the message very clear that, you know, we don't like you because you have extra weight, according to our assessment of you. Mm-hmm. And you took things into your own hands. I thought it was very wonderful that, you know, you didn't have any help. For whatever reason, you didn't go to your mom. No adults came to you. You started figuring things out on your own. And even though that might have turned into an eating disorder afterwards, still on a certain level, you took charge and you made it happen and you took control. So to me, what's going to happen is, wisely in your mind, you're going to have the thought, when I take control of things, good things happen. Mm-hmm. Plain and simple. It's a winning strategy. And honestly, it is a winning strategy in life. There's certain things that when we take control, when we take responsibility, when we put our brain power and our presence and our consciousness into something, we as humans can make stuff happen. And I think there's an interesting dichotomy that might be happening for you between what I would call taking responsibility versus being in control. Taking responsibility is, I'm going to say, the good way to describe as we as people step up and do the right steps so we can make our life work. Taking control sometimes can have a little bit of a dark side to it, because it means that somehow I need to be in charge of this, I need to be in charge of that, I need to make sure this works, that works, and the other thing works, and all of a sudden we have to control a lot of different things. And a lot of times when we think we have to be in control, what's born in that same moment is the fear of being out of control. So I think a piece of the puzzle for you, and I'm going to state this in the positive, is that you're learning the difference between taking responsibility for yourself and being in control. Because for me and you, there's certain things in life that we can't control. You know, I can't control the weather outside today. I can't control necessarily the mood that me or my partner's going to be in the morning. I can't always control other people's feelings, responses. You know, sometimes I can't even control what my body desires. Mm-hmm. See, that's an interesting piece, because the body's a wild card. You really learned how to take responsibility for your body, switch up your diet, and see a result. And I think what happens in there is that because we tried different nutritional strategies, and you started seeing, oh, you know something, when I eat this, I feel healthier. Mm-hmm. When I don't eat certain things, I feel healthier. And then when I eat those things, I feel unhealthier. So we start to make wise distinctions. So this is all really good. You know, you did some great things in your journey. You learned at a young age, some foods work for me and some foods don't. They work for my energy, for my health, for how good I feel, and they work for my weight. Like, this is all great information. And at the same time, there's going to be a little fear, I think, in the background. And the little fear in the background is the 14-year-old in you who's going to be worried about, well, what if this doesn't work? What if I lose control? If I don't maintain this diet, if I don't maintain this exercise, then I'm going to lose everything I've created. Then, like, things are going to fall apart and I'm going to go back to hell. So I think there's a place where somewhere inside there, that's a fear that's in the background. Mm-hmm. That if I lose control, everything falls apart. I gain weight, nobody loves me, I get made fun of, and I just have no control over anything. So then what's going to happen is, because controlling has given you a benefit, a real benefit in the past and in the present, heck, let me control other things. Mm-hmm. Let me control work. Let me control people at work. Let me control, like, all the planning. And again, there's goodness to that because you're being responsible. The challenge is control sometimes is this nagging little attitude that pulls us down, that says, if I'm not doing this, then it's going to be hell. So back to your body being a wild card. I'm always of the belief that the body is constantly teaching us. Mm. And sometimes it's teaching us in ways that really work and make it easy for us. Sometimes it teaches us in ways that make it more difficult and it's not so fun. I.e., nobody wants to have extra weight. Nobody wants to have low blood sugar, low thyroid, digestive issues, whatever it is. Nobody likes that. And right now, there's a part of you where I think certain pleasurable foods, they have a big power over you because your body desires them. And there's a little war that's going on inside because you know your body's going to crave these at some point, because a part of you knows my body really likes these. I really like these. And not only do you really like them, but you know, all of a sudden, sort of your body wants them, even though you're not hungry. You just look at it or you think about it and you go, I want that. So believe it or not, that's where I think some of your work is going to be here, is finding a middle ground really finding a middle ground and learning to trust that you can be responsible for your diet and your body and your health while not needing to be 100% in control of it. We're all going to get sick someday. We don't have control over that. I could eat really healthy. I could exercise. I could do a million great things for myself. My parents did all kinds of great things for their health, and they both died young of cancer before they hit, 58. So we just never know. You could do all the right healthy things. So we can be responsible, but we can't always be in control. And there's a place where I think you're stepping into a bigger part, a more mature part, a more interesting part of your feminine nature. Mm-hmm. Our masculine nature, so I'm assuming all men, all women have a masculine component. Our masculine nature is going to be the part of us that is linear, it is logical, it is mathematical, it is structural, it does like order. It doesn't like to flow, to go with the flow. It wants to know what's next. It plans. It's linear. It's very logical. And we also have a feminine side, and especially if you're a woman, you're going to tend to emphasize the feminine. The feminine is the part that flows, is the part that is subject to change all the time, to emotion, to diversity, to lots of color, to lots of tastes. And let's see what this is like, and let's try this, and let's do that, and we'll see what happens. And let's just flow with this in the moment. You mentioned that with your boyfriend, there's this part of you that comes out, the part of you that doesn't have to be planning the next thing. That really caught my attention, because it says to me that you've chosen the kind of relationship that, it sounds to me, allows you to relax into your feminine side more. The feminine side in us, in you, will flow more if it's feeling safe. Mm-hmm. There's different ways that we feel safe. One way that you feel safe is that you're with a partner who holds masculine energy for you. You don't have to be the man in the relationship all the time. So to me, you're just growing into your feminine more. And it's a little chaotic right now, because there's a part of you that just wants to be in control and have this stuff planned and know I eat this and I don't eat that. That's the masculine mind. That's the logical, linear, nutritional mind. And it's great. But there's this other part of Aggie that just wants pleasure. Like looks at that chocolate, thinks of the chocolate and goes, I want that. So I think a piece of the work is you learning to give that some more, just a little bit more airtime and a little bit more consideration, i.e., this might be good for me. And in a weird way, it's less about the food, and it's more about that general attitude about life. Because the food is just a reflection of life. So you're going to work this out with food. But really, it's about how in my life, where are the places where I can let go of control while being responsible? And feel more in my flowing nature when that's what's being called for. One of the reasons I would love for you to consider practicing slow eating again is because in an odd way, that's teaching your body how to be in a flow with food. So you're eating the food anyway. I don't care what it is. You're eating 5-6 times a day, you're eating. Let's get present to it. Let's get pleasure from it. Let's get experience from it. I'm guessing a lot of what you eat, you actually like. It actually tastes good to you. The part of us that's going to rush through a meal, it's either an old habit, like truly, it's just old habit. And old habits sometimes are hard to change. You were taught to eat fast by the world, so you're eating fast. There's also a place where slowing down with food is very confrontational because it shows us the place where we're in stress around food, where we're in anxiety, fear, stress, control. Control is oftentimes a state of stress. Oh, I got to control everything. You're actually a very responsible person. From what I gather here, you're responsible about how you think about your health, food, diet. So you're very responsible. And there's a place where, okay, now let's have some more flow within all that. So if I'm rushing through a meal, it means I'm in a stress response when I'm eating. Fast eating is a stressor. So your body's going to be in a little bit of stress. Your body is not going to get all of the sensation, the senses, the nourishment, the pleasure, the taste, the aroma. The body wants to be satisfied by the experience. And you're not fully getting that now. So it's coming out a little bit sideways, I think. Sideways meaning you're not fully getting the pleasure from food that you want. So all of a sudden you're sitting here hanging out and like, I want chocolate. That's to me, that's actually your body wisdom talking. I know it doesn't sound like body wisdom to you, but your body's saying, Aggie, come on, fun. Let's have some fun. And you're like, no, because that's not the right thing to do. I got to be in control because if I have some of you, I'm going to want all of you. Now, let me just point out, when we say that to ourselves, gosh, if I just have some, I'm going to eat it all. Part of that is almost like the rubber band effect. No, I can't have it. I can't have it. I can't have it. And then finally, when we have a little bit like, we just don't want to control anymore. So a lot of times for people, the feeling of being out of control with food is equal and opposite to how much we've been controlling. So the tighter I'm controlling my diet, when I go out of control, the more out of control I feel. So I would love to see you do a couple of things. Start reinventing a practice for yourself. It's a practice. It's not going to come easy, but over time, you can change your relationship with food by learning how to be present with it. Just slowing down and enjoying it. That's the name of the game. It's not eating slow so much as it's going at the pace where you can be present to it, sense it, enjoy it, indulge in it, and make that experience pleasurable. As you start to do that, I promise you, your body is not going to crave as much. Because it's part of your body that's just going, hey, can we have some fun? No more of this control stuff. We're going out of control now. So in general, slowing down, even with just your good foods, is going to teach you some of that. The other thing I'm interested for you to do, and this is a philosophical and religious shift, is deciding for yourself that maybe 94% of what you're going to eat is gluten, sugar, dairy-free. And build in, it's going to happen, a few desserts or deviations every week. And they're planned. I don't know, maybe the weekend, maybe on the weekend and once during the week. But do it in such a way that you're not going to be, so worried about it because it's 5 days away. So figure out what works for you, but I'm going to suggest at least once on the weekend and maybe once during the week. And it's purely for your fun. And when you eat whatever that is, the chocolate, the pastry, the the gluten pastry, once again, I want you to relax, take time, eat it with pleasure. Because here's the thing, you're going to do it at some point anyway. You know it. So let's start to train your body to relax into it and actually get what you want from the experience, because then what you're doing is you're learning how to step into your power with food. Right now, the food, you've given a lot of power to it. And yeah, if you eat a certain way, it makes you feel healthier. I get it. And also, if you eat a certain food, it makes it feel really pleasurable in the moment. And there's this battle going on. So let's see how we can unravel that battle by different strategy. Because I don't think you're going to be able to hit the point where you say, hey, Mark, it's Aggie. I'm in total 100% control now. I just eat all the good foods and none of the bad foods. I don't know that that's your destiny. I think your destiny is more, hey, Mark, most of the time I'm eating the foods that work for me. And some of the times I have these really fun snacks. Gosh, if I ate them every day, I probably wouldn't feel so good. And I'd probably be eating tons of it. But I'm learning how to negotiate with these different parts of me. Aggie, how's this all feeling to you as I'm saying all these things? What's going on for you?
Yeah, it's actually putting all the puzzle pieces together that I had in my mind, so I can completely relate to it. Also, to the point that you said about myself or me feeling safe in my relationship, it's completely like that. Just this is exactly how my first relationship, when I opened up about my eating disorder. Also, the same about control. And it's happening with me everywhere, basically. Even if we just go like on a trip with some of the friends and with my boyfriend or with a family, I feel that I need to take care of everything, that everything works fine, and that I feel like in a constant, okay, what's happening next? Where is the bus? Where is the flight? And are we catching everything? And also with the food. And this is partially something I tried, in the sense that even if I feel that I have some binge food in that sense, I try to enjoy it and tell to myself that, yes, I can have it. I need it for some reason. At least let's eat it slow, instead of just shuffling it down within a few seconds. So I think it's completely, at least like hitting on the points. You were very right. I can now just relate all of that, in the sense that, yes, I'm also in the fear of losing control and then going back to the stage where I was before I took it on, when I was 14 years old.
Yes.
That, no one will like me. People will make fun of me, which even I know will not happen, but that's the feeling.
Yes. So those parts of us tend to live on into our adulthood. And it's living on in your life right now. So all we're doing in this conversation is calling attention to it and looking at ways that you can start to affirm to yourself and affirm to life, wait a second, I'm safe. I'm not that 14-year-old girl. You know something? I'm in a great relationship. I'm loved for who I am. And you know something? I respect myself and love myself more than I did when I was 14 years old. I can take care of myself now. I've got good people around me. So part of it is reminding yourself of that and looking for opportunities, particularly in your relationship, where you can let your partner kind of take over. So Would it be interesting is if next time you go on a traveling experience or a vacation, you say, hey, boyfriend, listen, you know that part of me that just likes to control everything? I want you to just take care of everything. I want to be able to like relax on this trip and just make sure that you handle the flights and the times and the scheduling, and you make sure that we get to things and we don't miss anything. And I just want to practice relaxing and see if that even works. I bet he would be game for that, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's so good. You have such a good setup where you have, I'm so happy that you have such a great partner. You have a supportive partner who loves you for who you are. And he's not asking you to lose weight. He's not trying to make you different. He's not trying to control you, is what it sounds like. He's not trying to control you so you control your diet, so you control your body weight. So you're just learning how to undo a survival strategy.
Mm-hmm.
This was a brilliant survival strategy when you were 14. I am taking charge by myself. There's no one else helping me. I'm figuring this out on my own. And guess what? I'm successful at it. I did it. And now that's going to be my formula. Mm-hmm. It's kind of me. I'm going to be doing everything, and I'm going to be figuring everything out. And that was the best you could do when you were young. And now that strategy, you're growing out of it because it doesn't serve you. What's left of that strategy is that you are a young woman who knows how to be responsible for your body and take care of your body and your life. But, I don't really need to be in the kind of control where I'm constantly worried. So you're training your system that it's safe. Your system doesn't feel safe right now, but it feels a little bit of safety sometimes. You see, I trust that as you train yourself to be a slower, relaxed eater, I trust that as you incorporate regular glutens and chocolates into your diet, even if you overate them, you'll still be okay. Mm-hmm. Like you'll literally still be okay. You might be mad at yourself. You might feel a little guilty. You might feel a little shameful. You might not feel so good in your body, but you can then recover and say, wow, you know something? Gosh, I just got so excited. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I went a little bit out of control, but you know something? That's okay because I can recover and trust myself and try again. Mm-hmm. Because that's where I strongly believe that you can get to with your relationship with food, where you're doing the things that work for your body and your health, while at the same time you have enough room to be a human being who desires fun things and makes it work for you. See, I don't think little bits of the desserts or the chocolates or the glutens are going to be ultimately harmful for your health. I think in the net balance of things, as you can incorporate it, it will give you a positive result. Mm-hmm. Because you're not going to be in all kinds of stress. You're not going to be in constant fear and trying to control. And again, I think it's you stepping into just the next level of who you are as a woman and tapping into that part of you that's just more trusting of the flow of your own life.
Yeah, moving to the next level, actually.
Does that feel right to you? And everything.
I think it's the step that I also felt in me or imagined for myself. With the age, with actually becoming mature and knowing more about myself, or knowing more myself is the thing to do. Is becoming stepping to the next level, actually, as you said. Yeah.
And food is a part of that, but it's a part of it. It's really everywhere in your life, I think.
Yeah. it's at least across all my thoughts, and it's throughout my everydays, actually, how I think about food and how I try to control it, basically.
Yes. When this podcast comes out and you watch it, I want you to notice the difference between your facial expression for the first, 30 minutes of the conversation and your face in the last 20 or 30 minutes of the conversation. You just look a lot softer. Mm-hmm. Just softer and more relaxed and more in your feminine. And that's the real you. I feel like I'm looking at the natural, relaxed Aggie right now.
Yeah. When I'm relieved and I let go of control and I just live in the moment, actually.
Mm-hmm. It would be interesting to share some of this conversation with your partner. Mm-hmm. And just let him know the things that you want to work on. And just let him know that in any way that he can support you, that you might have some ideas. But I really like the theme for you of just asking yourself the question, where's my next evolution as a woman? Mm-hmm. What's life asking me to step into as a woman? What's life asking me? How's it asking me to express the feminine part of me? And just ask that question. I think it's a powerful question. Mm. And you'll have your own intuitions about what that means for you.
Yeah. Because I think I was also trying to find it in myself in the last couple of years. Where is my womanhood? How can I get more attached to my womanhood? How can I accept my feminine as well? Of course, the question around the kids that you were asking at the beginning as well, it's part of it. Is it my journey or not? Will I actually find my intuition towards that? So. Yeah,
I think you will. It's a powerful question to hold. And in the meantime, before kids, or if ever, it's right now, there's some things that you can do with yourself that just allow you to drop more into your feminine, whatever that's going to mean for you. And that'll inform your decision.
Yeah. And I think that will relieve a lot of stress that I have around food, basically. I spend so much time and energy and everything just to try to think and again control what I eat, what my diet is, and worry about things that I think I can benefit from elsewhere.
Yes. So I think it's a process. I think it's a journey. And I think that this conversation will really help start you on this new part of your journey where you're learning how to relax into your journey, learning how to let go of control. And sometimes it's going to be scary and sometimes you're going to want to control. That's okay. You'll take 2 steps forward. You might take a step back, but basically you're going to move forward on this.
Yeah. Even now, if I just look back where I was with food 5 years ago, I already feel there is a change, or there is a way how it's different. Yeah. So I think it's exactly like a step by step. And maybe when I look back 6 months later, I will also see already some difference. So.
I'm very excited for you, Aggie.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for the conversation. I think it was really powerful, an eye-opener.
Oh, I'm so glad. I really appreciate your willingness and your openness and your honesty. It's just been very refreshing and wonderful. And thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Mark.
Yes. And thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Take care, everyone.
Hey friends, we're so happy that you've joined us for another episode of The Psychology of Eating with Marc David. Are you loving these episodes? Then simply subscribe and you'll never miss an episode again. We'd also love it if you'd leave us a comment below so we can hear more about your own journey with food and body. And if you're curious about what we offer at the Institute for the Psychology of Eating, including our internationally acclaimed coach certification training that's rooted in dynamic eating psychology and mind-body nutrition, please head on over to our website, psychologyofeating.com. Until next time, take care, and remember, having the body you want starts with loving the body you have.